A powerful video released today on Operation Sindoor captures the precision, grit and unmatched courage of the border security force, with women warriors leading from the front. Never before seen footage shows Indian forces launching decisive strikes against terror infrastructure deep inside Pakistani territory. These were not just random shots, they were calculated and pinpoint operations. Pakistani terror elements can be seen fleeing for cover as India hit their hideouts and hubs with relentless accuracy. Buildings they used as terror training centers and accommodation for terrorists under training crumbled under the firepower unleashed by India's border forces.
In our area, the first major attack happened in the Samba area. We detected the movement of a group of 30-40 Pakistani terrorists and accordingly carried out a preemptive strike, leading to massive losses at their end.
These strikes weren't limited to a single region. The BSF destroyed multiple terror launch pads in Aknoor, Samba and Arispura sectors. Launch pads in Loni, Mastapur and Chabra were also targeted. BSF officials said that nearly 72 terror centers, included 47 near the border, were targeted, damaged and destroyed in this operation. According to BSF DIG SS Mand, the Samba region was one of the terror hubs targeted as a preemptive move.
I was commanding the company during Operation Sindoor that was deployed on the international border. Our responsibility was to keep the international border protected, stop any kind of infiltration, and give Pakistan a strong response.
But here's the most inspiring part. This mission wasn't led by men alone. The BSF's women personnel manned the front lines, commanded posts, and pulled the trigger when it mattered most. And this isn't about gender equality. It is rather an example of sheer capability. Operation Sindoor isn't just a success story of military might. It is a testament to India's evolving battlefield, one where women are not just playing supporting roles but key players in national defense, with women warriors leading the charge. On Gravitas Deep Dive today, we take a closer look at a growing trend in global conflict, one that is reshaping how wars are fought. In an age of military companies and decentralized power, militia groups are no longer just irregular fighters. They're now becoming rentable armies, offering their service to governments around the world. The private security industry mostly entails private military and security companies which offer military services all around the world to national governments, international organizations in exchange for monetary profits. Many also provide essential services like transporting troops, maintaining equipment or training local forces. Apart from this, they also protect infrastructure, diplomatic missions, convoys or high-risk individuals in conflict zones. Now, factors contributing to the growth of private military and security companies vary by region and also by state. But they mostly fit with cost efficiency calculations. That's where the sector provides skills and services that states do not possess. But what is driving this, and why are we telling you about this story today? Well, according to Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI, The number of personnel deployed to multilateral peace operations fell by more than 40%. That's between 2014 and 2024. That is primarily due to geopolitical tensions and funding shortfalls, which are now putting growing pressures on multilateral peace operations around the globe. And according to the think tank, if this trend continues and if cooperation on peace operations in the UN Security Council does not improve, then the states are likely to turn away from UN-backed multilateral approaches and try to manage conflicts in other ways. In recent years, several states affected by conflict have sought more militarized options to multilateral peace operations, including the deployment of ad hoc military forces and of private militias. Case in point, the Wagner Group, a Russian private military company deployed in combat roles in Libya, Syria and Ukraine. In Mali, the Wagner Group was deployed to support the government in its fight against Islamist extremists. In Ukraine, the Wagner Group emerged as Russia's fighting force. Apart from this, the private military and security company sector has grown in Africa as well. Both local and foreign companies operate in this sector, undertaking tasks like protecting nationals and supporting the operations of local armed forces. And also, to name some, Russia and Chinese companies are among the most active in Africa. The implications of a rented army can be stark because wars can now be waged cheaply and quietly through rented forces. As the lines between state armies and hired guns continue to blur, experts warn that militia groups may be defining modern wars in a new and perhaps murkier way. And shifting focus to these heart-wrenching images emerging from Gaza, this time from Rafah, where hunger and desperation have reached breaking point. Thousands of Palestinians desperate for food are seen swarming an aid distribution center in southern Gaza. Civilians are seen jumping onto trucks, scrambling for whatever aid they can find. A scene of chaos, hunger and survival. Israel, which had imposed a full blockade, allowed very limited aid into Gaza last week, but humanitarian groups say it's nowhere near enough. Meanwhile, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency says over 3,000 aid trucks are currently stuck at the border, packed with food, medicine and life-saving supplies. They are waiting for the green light to enter Gaza. UNRWA official warned that these delays are costing lives as the humanitarian crisis inside Gaza worsens by the day. Gaza stands at the brink of collapse. According to Gaza's health ministry, 53,977 Palestinians have been killed and more than 122,000 injured in Israeli attacks since the war started in 2023. In the last 24 hours alone, 38 people were killed and 169 injured. That number excludes casualties from northern Gaza, where hospitals have gone silent. Since resuming its military campaign on March 18th, Israel has killed nearly 4,000 more Palestinians. And now Israel has said it is launching an unprecedented attack in southern Gaza, urging civilians in Khan Yunis to evacuate. The Israeli military claims the target is militant infrastructure, but Gaza's media office says 241 civilian shelters have already been hit in Israeli strikes.
We did not find a place to stay in, to shelter in, me and my children. My family consists of 8 people, 8. I was displaced before this. I was displaced in the south, and we came to rest after there was a truce, and praise God. Flour is unavailable. Food, we can't even find food. Since the morning, we are hungry. I swear to God, from the morning until now, we cannot find a piece of bread.
On Tuesday, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is an Israeli-backed logistics group, said that the lorry loads of food have been delivered to secure sites in Gaza. However, The UN told a press briefing in Geneva that they were unaware of whether any aid had actually been distributed in Gaza.
What I do know, however, is that the needs are 500 to 600 trucks at a minimum that should go into Gaza loaded with supplies, not only food, but also medicine, medical supplies, vaccines for children, fuel, water, and other basics for people's survival. And we're very, very, very far from reaching that target.
Before the devastating Israeli blockade on aid was imposed in early March, the UN brought life-saving humanitarian supplies to people. Now, the blockade has been eased to reportedly an extremely inadequate level due to political pressure on the Netanyahu government and UN agencies as well as major aid groups. They all have refused to cooperate with the Israeli aid group. Amid concerns, it violates fundamental humanitarian principles and breaches international law. Meanwhile, hospitals are overwhelmed, medical supplies are running out, Gaza's health system is nearing total collapse, and global outrage is building. On Monday, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen condemned Israel's airstrikes on civilian sites as, I'm quoting her here, abhorrent. One of those strikes hit a school-turned-shelter, killing 31 people, including children, as they slept. Von der Leyen isn't alone. Germany, long a staunch ally of Israel, is now breaking ranks as well. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that the Israeli strikes have lost all justification and that the scale of violence is now no longer comprehensible. Even Germany's foreign minister and junior coalition partners are pushing to halt arms exports to Israel, warning Berlin could become complicit in Israeli war crimes. Merz, who once promised to welcome Netanyahu to Berlin, is now calling for urgent humanitarian access into Gaza, and he is not alone. Finland, Sweden, Canada and France, they have all now joined calls to pressure Israel to allow aid in, demanding food, medicine and fuel reach the 2 million civilians trapped inside Gaza. Yet, UN agencies say that they still have no confirmation that any of the recently delivered aid has reached the people who need it most. As leaders across Europe shift their tone and Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepens, the question is, will Bibi listen? In a remarkable achievement, a 55-year-old man from Nepal has successfully climbed Mount Everest for a record 31st time. We're talking about climber Gavitas broke his own record after 30 years since his first summit. Dubbed as the Everest man, Gavitas reached the peak of the world's highest mountain for a record 31st time today. According to 7 summit treks, he completed the climb as a guide to an Indian Army team. Rita not only reached the summit himself, but also led and guided the last remaining members of the team to the top. Gavitas first climbed Everest in 1994 and has been making the trip nearly every year since. In May last year itself, Rita climbed the peak twice. In addition to Mount Everest climbs, Gavitas has scaled several other peaks that are among the world's highest, including K2, Choyu, Mansula and Lhotse. Gavitas' achievement not only highlights his personal dedication, but also brings global attention to the Sherpa community's invaluable contributions to mountaineering. As the Everest climbing season continues, his record stands as a testament to human endurance and the spirit of adventure.